What's up, everybody? Do you ever wonder why your brain jumps to the worst case scenario every time? Why is it so gosh darn negative all the time? And why does it feel so hard to get started? We're going to dive right into your primitive brain and why it gets stuck and how to help it move along. Get ready. That's going to be a fun episode. Hi, I'm Deibert. I am a performance coach for enterprise and strategic sellers. I help you improve your motivation by cleaning up your mindset and cleaning up your productivity. And I want to normalize for you. If you know what you need to do, but you can't quite get yourself to do it, I promise you're not lazy. Your brain is just doing its job. We're going to talk all about that today. By the end of this episode, you're going to have so much insight into what your brain actually prioritizes and how to move past that without resistance, overwhelm, burnout, shame. It's going to be great. Make sure you stick around for tip number 3 because it's going to be the best of all of them. Okay, so the way I like to think about brains, which is very oversimplifying them, is that you have 2 major parts, your higher brain and your lower brain. Your higher brain is designed to think about the future, to think about how you're going to achieve your highest human potential, to think about all the things that you can do to make your life better. It's always planning. It's thinking about the future. And then you have your lower brain. People call this your primitive brain, your monkey brain, your lizard brain. This is the oldest part of our brains, and it is only optimized for mitigating risk. It's constantly scanning the horizon, trying to figure out what is going to kill us. And this is the part of your brain where the negativity bias exists. A lot of people are like, why am I so negative all the time? I'm like, it's just your brain functioning the way it's supposed to function and trying to keep you alive. The problem is our brains are kind of stuck back in caveman times. And so our brains are thinking about what's going to kill us, but they're not quite updated with society that like today we have all these amazing things like grocery stores, houses, there's no saber-toothed tigers, like nothing is actually going to kill us. And so our brains sometimes get alarmed at small things like that email that you have to send might kill you. And I always say this to clients and they always laugh, but it's always like worst case scenario. I'm going to send this email. I'm going to make a complete fool of myself. Everybody's going to see. I'm going to lose my job. Then I lose all my money. Then we end up homeless and we all die. It's always kind of what your brain thinks. And realistically, you know that's not actually going to happen. But emotionally, that's how it feels. So your lower brain is prioritizing for 3 things. Number 1, avoiding pain. If we get injured, we might die. So our brain is always looking for anything that could be painful and avoiding that. Number 2, your brain is optimizing for resisting effort. Your brain doesn't know where the next calories are going to come from. It doesn't know that we have a guaranteed meal coming up. And so it's always trying to optimize to reduce the amount of calories that it spends. Because remember, it's stuck back in caveman times. So the second thing that your brain is optimizing for is reducing effort. We can't work too hard because we might die if we expend all our energy, but our brains don't know that DoorDash exists. It's the best thing ever. And number 3, your primitive brain is adjusting for seeking pleasure. Okay, so I want you to, if there's something pleasurable, like maybe berries or something that you find, that's going to be helpful for you as a human to stay alive. And remember, our brain is just focused on keeping us alive. So I want you to look at those 3 things: avoiding pain, reducing effort, and seeking pleasure. If you just did those 3 things all day, every day, you probably wouldn't be a 7-figure seller. I'm just going to break it to you. It's probably not going to happen, but that's what your brain is optimizing for. So it feels like, hey, I've got all these ambitions. I've got all these dreams. I've got all these goals. And instead I've got this brain that's telling me to go doom scroll for a while because it's going to give me a hit of dopamine, or go eat that food, or like, don't do anything hard. Like, don't file your taxes. That sounds too hard. Let's instead do something fun, like playing chess on our phones. So sometimes it feels like there's a big mismatch between who you want to be, where you want to be, and how your brain is optimized. And I totally get that. And I want to tell you that just because your brain is wired this way doesn't mean you can't hit your goals. Every single human brain is wired this way. And there are humans who are achieving amazing, fantastic things. And if that's possible for them, it's also possible for you. So now you understand why your brain is wired this way, why you feel like you're so negative, why it's so hard to start things, why you know what you need to do, but you can't quite get yourself to do it. Let me give you some ideas of how to move past this. I think about our brains as having like an approved list and an unapproved list. So let me give the example of in the past when I've run half marathons. Anytime I like built my marathon training plan and I'm ready to go, as soon as I see, okay, today you need to do a 3-mile run, my brain instantly would be like, not approved. Absolutely not. I don't want to do this. This sounds painful. This sounds like a lot of effort and it doesn't sound pleasurable at all. Doesn't check any of the boxes. No way, Jose, I don't want to do it. So your brain kind of has this list of things that are not approved. That it's like, this might kill me. If I go for a 3-mile run, I might die. Which, let's be honest, it really feels that way. Or like, if I give this presentation, I might die. Or if I send this email, I might die. Or if I ask for a raise, I might die. You know that like logically that's not going to happen, but emotionally that's exactly how it feels. So things happen on your not approved list. So let's go back to my training plan. I would just like, okay, I know this feels really hard. I'm going to try it anyway. I just kept putting in the repetitions. And I'm sure that some of you have experienced this before too. Like when you're starting a new training plan or you're starting to get back into exercising or whatever it is, like at first it feels really, really hard. But then something magical happens. Your brain is resisting it so much, but after a number of times of taking that action, suddenly your brain moves it over to the approved list. It's like I went for enough runs that suddenly my brain was like, interesting. I'm gathering some data. We've done this a few times and we haven't died. What do you know? Amazing. And so my brain stopped resisting it. And instead, with things like this, I started craving it. And I started being like, I can't live without this run. This run like really reduces my stress. And I feel so much calmer and I feel so much at ease after my run that rather than feeling a bunch of resistance towards that, now it's like my brain moved over to the approved list of these are things that we can do and not die. We have enough data that we're not going to die. And so it stopped resisting it. I know that you've probably experienced times like this as well. Maybe it was giving demos. Maybe it was doing discovery calls. Maybe it was doing outreach. At first, your brain was like, this is a horrible idea. They're going to see that we have no idea what we're doing. And they're going to tell us that not to do this. This is like, don't do this. You might die if you take this action. And then eventually we did it enough times that there was no longer resistance. So here's the first key for you. When you notice these things coming up of like, I know I need to do this, but I feel like it feels really scary. It feels emotionally challenging, even though logically I know it's not that big of a deal. I want you to focus on continuing to put in the repetitions. And I kind of like tell my brain like, hey brain, thanks for keeping me safe. Like, I really appreciate you. You're looking out for me. You're like watching for all those risks. And I'm just going to try this. We're just going to try. We're going to see. I'm not committing to do it forever. Somehow my brain feels like that's fine. Like, okay, if it's just temporary, then it's fine. If you're doing this forever, then I'm going to slam in the brakes even harder. But I'll just remind my brain, like, we're just going to try it. We're just going to see what happens because logically I know it's going to be fine for me. And then I just focus on putting in the repetitions until my brain moves that over to the approved list. If you want to join in the conversation, I would love to know something that used to be hard for you and now is not hard at all. I personally love doing this exercise. I love thinking about things that were terrifying to me in the past that now are like very commonplace and not that big of a deal. And then I think about the next thing that feels terrifying and like, what about when that's going to be totally commonplace and not that big of a deal? So drop in the comments. I'd love to hear what your experience has been with things that used to be terrifying and now just feel totally commonplace. Okay, so we've talked about why your brain is wired this way. And spoiler alert, everyone's brain is wired this way. So you're not at a disadvantage compared to other people. That's the good news. Next, we talked about how you can start to put in the repetitions so that you break down the resistance and want to do those things. And lastly, I want to tell you some really easy tips that are going to help you to implement this even further. So I talked a little bit about awareness. It's so helpful to just be aware that your brain is doing this. Like, hey, I've got this really difficult task and I feel like I don't want to do it. I feel like I want to go scroll on my phone and get some dopamine instead. And I'm just noticing that that's my brain trying to keep me safe. It's so, so helpful to name what's going on and to step back into your higher brain that knows what you need to do to achieve your human potential and step back into that part of your brain that's like, you know what? I could choose to go scroll right now. Or I could just get started on this task and get it over with and I'm going to feel so much better. So just start to become aware. Just name what's happening and tell your brain like, hey, thanks so much for protecting me. I appreciate you looking out for me. You've done such a good job of keeping me alive. Look at me today. I'm alive. This is amazing. Thank you so much. And I'm just going to try this. I'm just going to test it out. We're just going to try it a few times, see what happens. Are you on board? And it might be like, I don't know, but sure, let's try it. And then eventually you'll stop feeling so much resistance towards that. And then next, if you haven't heard me say this before, I'm going to say it 500 million more times. This is probably going to be on my gravestone. If you're having a hard time starting, it's probably because your task is too big. Your brain, again, remember, it's focused on reducing effort, avoiding pain, and seeking pleasure. And the reducing effort part, when it sees a task that's like, build a presentation, it sees that task on your task list, it's going to be like, absolutely not. This feels painful. This does not feel like pleasure. And it feels like it's going to be so hard. So when you break it down super, super stupidly small, then you have a lot less resistance and you can get started so much more easily. So instead of build presentation, go for a walk and brainstorm topics that I might want to talk about in this presentation. Or go through the slides and just check the images. That's it. Just check the images. Or go through the slides and just look for typos. Or go through the slides and add bullets where bullets need to be there. Like, make it so easy, small, that your brain sees it and it's like, oh, well, that sounds actually kind of fun. I'm going to be able to cross that off my list. I'm going to get ahead of dopamine, and I'm going to feel better when this is done. And spoiler alert, I use AI for all of this. I use AI to break down my tasks. I use AI to tell me where to start. I use AI to take the first step for me. There's a really helpful way of thinking about things. I heard this in the context of working with your manager. And I really like the way that they talked about it, is when you come to your manager with a problem, don't ask your manager for the solution. Instead, come with solutions. You can think about how there's creating and there's editing. And creating, coming up with the idea, is so much harder than editing. If you propose a solution to them, then they can just edit your solution and give you ideas, but they don't have to come up with the solution in the beginning. And I think about this with AI. I think if I can use AI to create, and then I just focus on the editing side, then it's going to be so much easier for me and so much less effort. And my brain will resist it so much less. I'll get more work done. I'll be done with my day. Okay, so just to recap everything we talked about, your lower brain, your primitive brain, is the one that is on all the time. Your higher brain is only engaged when you're thinking about the future. And your lower brain is optimized for scanning for risks. It may feel like you're very negative, and everybody has this negativity bias because you're always looking for what could possibly kill you. This lower brain is optimizing for 3 things. Number 1, avoiding pain. Number 2, reducing effort. And number 3, seeking pleasure. Once you know that about your brain, then it's so much easier to spot it and become aware of it happening. And the only thing you have to do is just keep putting in the repetitions for those things that feel scary or like they might kill you, even though you know they probably won't kill you, and that they feel hard and your brain has a lot of resistance to. Just keep putting in the repetitions, and eventually your brain will move those things from the unapproved list over to the approved list, and you'll have a lot less resistance. You'll be able to get things done much more easily. And if you're having a hard time starting, I have dozens of videos on how to get yourself started. Please watch those. But also just break down your tasks. Break them down smaller, break them down so that every single task on your list is one that you want to cherry pick off your list and feels very easy for you. Once you've got the inertia going, you're golden. If this resonated with you, I would love to come see you over on LinkedIn. You can find me at linkedin.com/in/Amber Deibert. Connect with me, say hello, let me know. It's always so helpful to hear people that listen to the podcast. I love hearing your feedback about the podcast. I love hearing what resonated with you. I'm standing here in my office by myself, talking to myself, laughing at myself, thinking that my jokes are funny. So I love hearing from you and hearing that you're laughing at my jokes too, and that you're finding it enjoyable. So please come connect. It feels so delightful to hear from you. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week.